Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook. Today is Thursday, December 7, and here we are. We are looking at new. I'm sorry, I got distracted by your comments. We have headlines from our city, state, and country to look at. We have your comments, ideas, and suggestions. It's December in Puerto Vallarta, and all kinds of things are being announced and are going on. So we're trying to sift through the news and find the things that we think you might want to connect with. As always, we welcome those of you that are watching live for the first time. If that is you, you can let us know by writing the word new in your comment and we'll give you a nice little welcome. If you have something that you want to share with everyone that we shouldn't miss, it helps a great deal when you add a capital letter Q, like Dan has done. Now watching Coffee and Headlines live. Oh, no watching Coffee and Headlines live tomorrow for us. CFE is cutting the electricity from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. I don't know if this is all throughout Versalles or just in your street, but I'd be curious to learn where you heard about this and whether it affects the rest of Versalles. Dan, if you have any more information about that, I'm sure others would appreciate it. I also want to acknowledge that today is our dear friend Mijal's birthday. Happy birthday, Mijal. Yay. I hope you have a juicy one. And that's what I have for now. Let us dive into the news. And of course, on the top of the news, we have this brand new, first time ever Mexican Christmas, well, Mexican because we're in Mexico, Christmas parade in Puerto Vallarta. In a press conference, city officials formally announced the first ever Christmas parade in Puerto Vallarta, along with 3 weeks worth of holiday festivities to take place throughout the city from December 9th through the 31st. It all starts with the lighting of the Malecón Christmas tree this Saturday evening. Then the aforementioned parade will take place on December 13, one day after the Guadalupe processions are over. And this starts at the Sheraton Hotel and ends at the Rio Quale Market, where I am sure if it's ending at the Quale, two things. Number one, it'll go through the Malecón. And number two, I am sure the Rio Quale Market will have a nice route finish fiesta, as they usually do. Other details will most likely become available as we move forward through the month on the Facebook event page for the Christmas festival, which I will include in the show notes along with this news item. And Puerto Vallarta has a new outdoor attraction, but not for those who are afraid of heights. The nice folks at Canopy River have opened a new vantage point high up in the mountains called Jorullo Point. To get there, it takes crossing a 200-meter long suspended bridge, and once you get there, you get to take your shoes off and stand on a platform that has a glass floor affording a 360-degree view of the surrounding jungle. How to get there? Well, it's all done through Canopy River, and it's already being announced as part of their activities. I remember when they announced their first suspended bridge, it cost a lot of it generated a lot of interest, and I'm sure this new vantage point will be very attractive for those that enjoy activities out in nature. Let's take a look at the weather just to see what's going on out there. Snarky Weather says, oh, haha, if I ever become president, I will be a dictator on day one and every day after that. Okay, this deserves one of these. It's 28 degrees right now. Humidity is at 61%. And our weather forecast for today is partly cloudy skies in the morning with thunderstorms. Thunderstorms in the afternoon. This is so weird because it says thunderstorms in the afternoon and only a 4% chance of rain. Explain that to me. Our high for today is going to be 32 and our low for today is going to be 22. Then tomorrow, Friday, we can expect a humid day with clear skies with a high of 31 and a low of 22. And then on Saturday, we will enjoy a humid day with clear skies, a high of 31 and a low of 20. And that's the weather for today. Moving right along, I have a few announcements that I wish to share. Of course, I hope you don't hold it against me that I am making a lot of announcements about Ruta Mushi. It's part of our commitment to support the very important project of documenting Puerto Vallarta's history. And right now, we have a mobile bus to take care of that. So if you're wondering where the Ruta Mushi bus is going to be today, it's going to be at Parque Hidalgo. And just as long as we're talking about this, I'm going to answer this question because it's an easy one. What does Ruta Mushi mean in English? MUS stands for museo or museum, and HI stands for historia or history. And that's where the name of Ruta Mushi comes from. So today, if you're out and about, you can enjoy the latest exhibition about Puerto Vallarta churches and the Guadalupe processions at Parque Hidalgo from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Moving right along, I also want to talk to you about my dear friend Memo Lira. I always love bumping into my friend Memo Lira, who runs Vallarta 101. It's a website. He's been a tireless tour guide in town for many, many years, and he continues to excel at what he does. And his latest innovation is these series of silent Malecón walking tours that are narrated by way of wireless headphones as you walk along with him. The next tours are tomorrow, Friday, and on December 22nd. These tours are free to book, and you get to pay whatever you want, so that is not such a bad deal. And of course, today is my introduction to jazz, or how to listen to jazz presentation. And because at the end of each presentation, we make pre-announcements of whatever's coming up in future music appreciation gigs, I went ahead and published our topics for January, and our two topics for January. Of course, we have our RISQUÉ presentation coming up with dirty songs from all the ages later on this month. But in January, we start with Soulful Storytellers, exploring the impact of Mexico's traditional songwriters. This presentation explores the lives and legacies of 5 influential Mexican traditional songwriters: Agustín Lara, Consuelo Velázquez, Armando Manzanero, José Alfredo Jiménez, and Juan Gabriel. From the timeless poetry of Lara to the flamboyant creations of Juan Gabriel, we'll delve into the profound narratives and enduring emotions woven into their music. And if you're asking to yourselves, who are these people and what songs have they done? I'm willing to bet you that you know at least one song by each. You just didn't make or haven't made the connection with the composer, the songwriter, and that's precisely what we're going to do. Their songs continue to be performed by many artists of today, and I'm sure they will continue to be performed for decades moving forward. And our second presentation for the month was a suggestion by one of our viewers, Betsy Ann, who one day says to me, I want to understand why different versions of classical music are different. And it took me some time to put this one together, but I finally found my connecting thread, and I am going to be doing so many versions, the art of interpretation in classical music. And we start by asking a question. Did you know that there are over 1,000 versions of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony available on Spotify? Over 1,000. So you may be wondering, why so many, and how do we navigate them to find the one that resonates with Beethoven's original vision? And that's the thing, classical music has evolved through time, And some composers meticulously documented or wrote down instructions for performance with musical notation. Others didn't, which have resulted in a variety of versions of works, some of them that have been very amazing, and others um, so unconventional that they may leave you pondering what were they thinking of. Now, of course, to be able to recognize one version against another, you need to be familiar with the work. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose some very popular classical music um, works. We're going to take a look at what the composer wrote on their manuscript, how the manuscript evolved through the sometimes careful, sometimes careless hands of the music score editors. And then what happens when it comes down to the concert stage? Why do pianists play some things faster or louder than others, and so forth and so on? All this will be discussed in so many versions. It's going to be a lot of fun. I am very much looking forward to it. And to wrap up today's content, I introduce you to our third main dish enjoyed in Mexico during the holidays. This is bacalao, prepared in Vizcaína style. This is cod in English. Now you may wonder how a fish from Norway ended up as a classic Christmas dish in Mexico. Well, it's all about the Spanish conquistadors who used to bring it along in their ship, dry and salted to prevent it from rotting during the journey. It is now prepared with tasty peppers, not spicy ones, along with green olives and tomato and onion and other spices. Bacalao is probably my favorite Christmas dish of the three that we have mentioned, and it is still, the fish is imported, and you can prepare bacalao with dry fish or with fresh fish. If you use salted fish, dry fish, you need to desalt it first, which sounds more complicated than it is. Anyhow, bacalao, I hope, I keep my fingers crossed, I will find it prepared either at the supermarket or at Costco. I'm not going to go through the recipe at home, but I will share a recipe for you to try to make it on your own, should you care to do that. And this brings us to the end of our content. Do I have anything else? No, this is it. So let's take a quick look at your comments just to see what everybody is doing. And I forgot to ask you, but I am curious, are you enjoying these these cool mornings, or what? I am just loving the weather right now. Let's see what we have. Lots of good mornings, which I appreciate. Boom, 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 boom. I'm looking for more comments from Dan about that CFE electricity stop. What? Paco, will you volunteer to be Santa in the Christmas parade? No, I think I can volunteer in other places and other situations better than being Santa in the Christmas parade. I can't quite tell if you're being funny or serious, Chris, but no, I won't be doing that. Sorry. Dan explains CFE dropped off notices on Tuesday. The only ones we know for sure are us and Ernesto's, although I did see the CFE guy walking down the street with notices in hand. So they must be repairing something on your street. But Brian, you guys are on the same block, so just keep your eyes open and keep your refrigerator door closed. We explained Ruta Mushi. And what else do we have? Liz says, season greetings to all wherever you are. Yes, absolutely. Let's see, there's another cube. So happy you're tackling this issue in classical music. Muchas gracias. You know, Betsy, I am fascinated by it. I always have been, but couldn't think of an effective way to convey this knowledge with you and the rest of the nice folk that have been attending the music appreciation presentations, but I think I found my groove, and I think it's going to be really, really fun. I mean, we will tackle, I'll just give you some of the works that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Ravel's Bolero. We're going to talk about Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. We're going to talk about Beethoven's Emperor Piano Concerto. We may tackle some Tchaikovsky, because there's a specific work that I've been listening to lately, and the difference in different versions is amazing to me. So there you have it. We're going back to classical music. I'm excited about that. Purum pum pim. Rita, you keep sharing a link, and I'm wondering, in fact, I am sure most people are not able to see this link. And the reason being is that we don't allow links here at Coffee and Headlines. I think your link is most benign, but we don't allow links here at Coffee and Headlines because we don't want people plastering their events and announcements arbitrarily. But I'll be happy to look at your John Batiste video, and then I will share it later on. Pum 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 pum. All done in just ha ha ha. If this has to do with my Santa appearance, I feel for all those Santa guys, because even though it's cooler in the mornings, I mean, who could endure a Santa costume in this humidity? I am not sure. Excited to be here in Puerto Vallarta with my husband, says Hector Armienta. Good for you. And I think this brings us to the end of the broadcast, because I don't see any more comments. Of course, this means that it's time to put my finishing touches on my presentation on jazz for this afternoon. If you have nothing better to do and you want to learn more about jazz, it's 5 o'clock at the Joint Hotel as usual. I hope to see you there. If I don't see you there, I hope to see you sometime again in the future. I'm about to sneeze, so I'm going to say... Oh my God, that crept on me just as I was about to say goodbye. So, ciao. See you soon.